All right, good morning. It is Thursday, September 20th, 2018. I was a little bit late starting this morning. I got locked out of the radio station. I don't know if the fates are conspiring against me. Last week it was a fire drill, but anyway, it's going to be a shorter episode than usual, but it's going to be a sweeter episode than usual also because, hey, Jeremy Dutcher. Anyone who's been following the show, then you know that we have been following the career of Jeremy Dutcher since he put out his amazing Maliseet language album, Wolastoqiyik Lintuwakonawa. I mean, this is a meteoric rise of this album. He is a young Maliseet, or Wolastoqiyik in the Maliseet language, man. He's originally from the Tobic First Nation, grew up here in Fredericton at the St. Mary's First Nation. He went on to study classical opera in Halifax, but along the way he became fascinated with the musical aspects of his culture. There's a woman from St. Mary's, Maggie Paul. She's a song carrier, a carrier of the traditional songs, and she told him of the Mecinut archives in Quebec, which was a collection of wax cylinder recordings, which is an old recording technology. So there were all of these recordings of Maliseet and Micmac singing that was made by an anthropologist at the turn of the century named William F. Mecinut. And Mecinut wanted to preserve what he saw as a dying language. Of course, it's not a dying language. It's a language that is in danger. There are only 100 active speakers of the Maliseet language currently, so it's very much in danger. But we're hoping that Wolastoqiyik Lintuwakonawa, Jeremy Dutcher's groundbreaking new album, is something that is going to push that language in the opposite direction. Jeremy spent last several years researching, listening to, becoming intimately acquainted with these old songs that he's dug up out of the archives. He's fascinated by this entire world of old music, almost none of which he has heard before. So he's inspired by these old songs, not just as a Maliseet man, but as a musician. And so the obvious step to take is to create an entire album out of this music. An album it's not just a reproduction of the old songs. He's not, like what happens in a museum, looking to put the past on a pedestal. What he's doing, and he pulls this off brilliantly, is to bring these old songs into today. So he wants to make them relevant, to merge the past with the present, and have this living, breathing manifestation of a culture that refuses to be extinguished. And so, the album, that is this amazing melding of the actual wax recordings mixed in with opera and anthemic kind of rock of the sort that you'd hear from Queen or Freddie Mercury. You've got electronic music, a whole mishmash of different styles and influences for today, done in such a way that it not only brings you backward in time, but it brings you forward in time. You're able to see a future for the Maliseet language and Maliseet music. It's a new promise for his culture. It says to people that although the past has been hard, a lot of it has been lost, there is a new beginning, and this is the start of it. It's just really, it's so incredible. It's so much more than music. It's history, it's anthropology, culture, it's protest, it's cultural reclamation, and it points to a different way of doing things in the future for his people. Polaris Music Prize last week, Jeremy was on the short list, was nominated, and I knew this was going to happen. He won. I knew it was going to happen. It's just such a brilliant, amazing album. And I think it was evident to everyone there at the ceremony, too, that something special had occurred. I think it's really one of the great defining moments of First Nations and Canadian music history. This is what he said in his acceptance speech. He said, "Canada, you are in the midst of an Indigenous renaissance. Are you ready to hear the truths that need to be told? Are you ready to see the things that need to be seen?" And I think he's right. We are in the midst of an Indigenous renaissance. 4 of the last 5 winners have been Indigenous of the Polaris Prize: Tanya Tagaq, Buffy St. Marie, Lido Pimenta. Also on the short list this year, the Snotty Nose Res Kids. We're going to listen to Jeremy's performance from the Polaris Prize Awards. He does this 3-song medley, Mecinut, which is a death chant, Essuwonike, which is a trading song, and Pomok, Naka, Poktoinskewes, which is fish in the water spirit. That would have been the only song that Jeremy would have heard before listening to these old songs at the archives. You can check out our interview with Jeremy that we did earlier this year on our YouTube site, but now I would like to play Jeremy's amazing rendition of these 3 songs. He's accompanied by Greg Harris, Greg, who we've also played songs from on the show. And there are a couple of string players, some backup singers. There's just a beautiful female vocal solo that reminds me of the woman's voice in Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, The Great Gig in the Sky. As momentous as that was, the stakes are higher here, and it is a beautiful, beautiful part. So let's listen to this. It's prefaced by an introduction by Jesse Wendt, who is a man of Ojibwe heritage. He's a film producer, been a cultural critic on CBC One, and now he's the director of the new Canadian Indigenous Screen Office. So he starts with his reflections on what Jeremy's music means to me, and then we are going to cut directly to Jeremy playing his 3-song medley. Here we go.
Now it is on to another live performance. Here to tell us more about Jeremy Dutcher's nominated album, Wolastoqiyik Lintuwakonawa, is culture critic and the first director of Canada's new Indigenous Screen Office, Jesse Wendt.
Hearing Jeremy's record for the first time, I cried. So much of what Indigenous artists are doing these days is beyond just the simple art that they create. These are acts of reclamation, of preservation, recovery. And so when I hear something like Jeremy's record, I hear the resilience of our peoples. And what I really hear when I listen to Jeremy is I hear the future. Art like this is important because they preserve, but they also contemporize. They also reveal that we aren't gone, that we're very much here and in the now. You are hearing the modern version of people speaking to this land for thousands of years. And Canadians should listen very closely, because this is a language, this is a sound that not only they should cherish, but they should get used to as well.
That was Jeremy Dutcher, winner of the 2018 Polaris Prize, with his album Wolastoqiyik Lintuwakonawa, Our Maliseet Songs, playing a live medley of 3 tunes off his album Mecinut, Essuwonike, and Pomok, Naka, Poktoinskewes. Well, that was something. It was really a tremendous year for New Brunswick musicians at the Polaris Awards. Not only was Jeremy Dutcher nominated and won, but we had another nomination from New Brunswick, Partner, originally out of Sackville. A duo, Jose Caron and Lucy Niles, put out an album in 2017 called In Search of Lost Time. Fantastic album, kind of a post-classic rock, simple, witty songs, got a bit of a punk edge. If you like Sloan, you're going to really love Partner. Sloan was also on the long list for this awards, but Partner managed to edge into the short list. This is what they say about themselves on Bandcamp. Partner is a genre-defying and terrifying, part musical act, part teenage diary, and 100% queer. This is really great music. We're running out of time, so I'm going to just jump into 2 or 3 partner tunes. This has been Instant Breakfast New Brunswick on CHSR Radio, 97.9 FM, Thursday, September 20th. I'm your host, John Heinstein, bringing you the sounds of New Brunswick. We have up next Partner from In Search of Lost Time, Everybody Knows.
To go to, and on the deck while I waited for her to get dressed, sparked up another one, and I was such a mess that I confess that my professor